Hey everybody, welcome to Controversy or Reality. We'll be discussing controversial topics. Today's topic is the flood of Noah. The flood of Noah is an occurrence mentioned in religion. Some of the religions of the holy books believe that the flood of Noah covered the whole earth. However, science proves that this is impossible, and that has caused divine religion to come under attack with the basis that religions are just a collection of myths. Karaz here with me to further discuss this topic.
Thank you for having me today, Mohammed. Well, the story of the flood of Noah has been distorted by some religious clerics, and the flood of that magnitude cannot scientifically occur. Present day science hasn't shown any sign that any traces of such an event occurred in that magnitude.
Yeah, but the story of the flood appears in the Torah and the Old Testament, and it mentions that Noah carried a pair of every living animal, that the earth was entirely covered by water above highest mountain on earth, and that Noah remained on the ark with those animals for an entire year. What do you have to say about that?
Well, those claims are clearly false. As I said before, there's no scientific explanation for that amount of water,
Yeah,
as it's not even available on Earth.
yeah,
There's also no logical explanation for the tremendous number of animals staying alive on the ark
yeah.
for a time period of over a year. How did they carry that amount of food that is sufficient enough to feed all those animals for over a year? Anyone who knows science knows that traces of earthly events are present and can be read back for millions of years.
Yeah.
So, what about his event that occurred only a few thousand years ago?
Well, one of the bases of divine religion is the belief in miracles. They can say that all these explanations were concealed by a miracle.
Okay, we have to understand when God brings out a miracle, it must be out of wisdom and for a wise reason, not to misguide the people
Yeah.
or conceal facts and events such as the flood of Noah, peace be upon him.
But the story of the flood of Noah is also mentioned in the Quran, and some Islamic scholars believe that this flood covered the whole world. What do you have to say about that?
Well, the Quran mentions in Surah Noah specific details about this event. It specifies that the flood occurred in a region of mountains,
Yeah.
and it describes that waves occurred like mountains. However, it is not stated in the Quran that the whole world was covered by this flood.
Yeah. Then where did the flood of Noah occur if that's the case, where it didn't cover the whole world?
Well, in reality, the flood occurred between 15,000 BC to 8,000 BC,
Yeah.
in what is known now as the Persian Gulf. Scientific evidence proves that this area was previously landfilled and it was inhabited by the Sumerian Empire, which Noah was part of.
Well then, how did this flood happen?
The flood caused by the large amounts of water, which was made available by the melting of the ice at the end of the Ice Age.
Yeah.
This formed water springs pouring into the seas, that together with the water springs that also used to power into the sea, led to a rise in seawater level until the natural dam collapsed and seawater entered the valley.
Yeah.
The Quran states in chapter 54, verse 11 to 12, "Then we opened the doors of heaven with rain pouring down and caused the earth to burst with springs, and the waters met for a matter already ordained."
Okay, thank you very much for discussing this topic with me, Kara.
Thank you for having me.
Well, to conclude this episode, there is a misconception about the story of the flood of Noah. The flood of Noah did not cover the whole world, and this has been proven by scientific evidence, which proves that there is not enough water for this event to happen. Rather, this flood occurred only to a specific area, and the theory that the flood covered the whole earth is not specified in the Quran. Thank you all for watching. Tune in to another episode of Controversy or Reality.